Hello, everyone. A real warm welcome to you in this session of Microsoft Ignite. Today, we are going to talk about introduction to Power Platform. So, unless you are already aware, I'd like to take a brief. The session will help you improve your productivity and your organization's productivity by helping and understanding the capabilities of Microsoft Power Platform, automating the very basics of business processes with Power Automate, performing basic data analysis with Power BI, so that you can produce business insights, acting more effectively by creating simple Power apps through Canvas app experiences, and making very powerful chatbots without using any code. So we have today with us Joe Cam. He has got years of experience with Microsoft and even more years of experience working in the finance segment, specializing in capital markets. So he brings the best of both worlds, technology and domain, and he will be walking us through to see how this amazing no-code, low-code experience works for everyone. Over to you, Joe.
Thanks very much for that introduction, and thanks everybody for taking some time out of your day, your morning, or your evening to spend a little bit of time with us. So as shared, my name is Joe Camp. This is a high-level introduction to the Power Platform, and we have a good bit of material to go through, so we're going to jump right into the agenda. And so this afternoon, this session, we're going to talk about the components of Power Platform. As we talk about those components, we'll give you some business value of each of those, and then we'll kind of wrap it up into a scenario type of discussion. Then we're going to share some our thoughts to help you in your learning journey with respect to Power Platform, as well as share some of those resources. So jumping into the Power Platform, as shared, Power Platform is Microsoft's low-code platform that spans across Office 365, Azure, Dynamics 365, and some standalone applications. There are four main components within the Microsoft Power Platform. There's Power BI, which is the business analytics component, Power Apps, the application development platform component, Power Automate, which is process automation, and then Power Virtual Agents, which is the intelligent virtual agents or the chatbot framework. Excuse me. Some of the other pieces of Power Platform all up are ways that data and data sources get into these four components, and that's through data connectors, which we'll talk about. AI Builder, which we're really not going to talk about too much. We'll touch a little bit on AI and artificial intelligence, but not a ton. And then the Common Data Service. So Power BI is the Power Platform's business analytics service that delivers insights for analyzing data. It can share those insights through data visualization, which makes reports and dashboards to enable fast and informed decisions. Power BI scales across the organization, and it has a built-in governance and security, allowing businesses to focus on using data and not managing the data. Whether your data is a simple Microsoft Excel workbook or a collection of cloud-based and on-premises hybrid data warehouses, Power BI lets you easily connect to your data sources, clean that data, and then model your data without affecting the underlying source. Then you can visualize that data, and using that visualization, that helps you make a better and informed decision about your business. Power BI consists of a desktop and online software as a service component, which is Power BI Service, and a mobile Power BI app that's available on phones as well as tablets. and phones. Obviously works for iOS as well as Android devices. Excuse me. The next component is Power Apps. And Power Apps is Microsoft's no-code, low-code platform for building apps. And this is built off of some knowledge that I'm going to assume that a lot of you already have, and that's your ability to build functions and formulas within Excel. That skill set absolutely transitions well into the ability to build Power Apps. You can use Power Apps to build simple solutions like a vehicle inspection form, a status report, or complex business solutions for a purchasing process and or even inventory management. With Power Apps, you have choices on where and how your data is stored. Some common data sources include the Common Data Service, which is something that we'll talk about in a little bit. SharePoint Online, Dynamics 365, SQL, and Excel Online. Additionally, you can connect your app to over 325 connected data sources. Power Apps easily supports multiple data connections, allowing you to bring data together from many platforms into a single app. And lastly, Power Apps has democratized artificial intelligence by providing a wizard-based interface for building and training an AI model, which unlocks the power of Azure machine learning and cognitive services. Now, in the context of this conversation and the level, we're really not going to go into any detail on machine learning nor cognitive services. But if you have an interest in those two topics, I encourage you to go to Microsoft Learn, because I know that there's a bunch of information there about these. The third component is Power Automate. And Power Automate lets users create automated workflows between applications and services. It helps automate repetitive business processes such as communication, data collections, and decision approvals. Not only for the individual user, Power Automate allows for the creation of enterprise-grade process automation. Power Automate's simple interface allows every level of user to automate work tasks from beginners to seasoned developers. A few examples of Power Automate are the automation or automating of repetitive tasks like moving data from one system to another, or guiding a user through a process so they can complete different stages. An example of this would be the onboarding process of a new employee to your organization or to your business. And then purchase order approval automation is another example. The fourth component at the higher level is the Power Virtual Agents. And as I referenced earlier, Power Virtual Agents is Microsoft's low-code, no-code bot framework. Power Virtual Agents enables anyone to create powerful chatbots using a guided, no-code graphical interface without the need for data scientists nor developers. Power Virtual Agents addresses many of the major issues with chatbot building, eliminates the gap between the subject matter experts and the development teams building those chatbots, and removes the complexity of exposing teams to the nuances of conversational AI and the need to write complex code. Power Virtual Agents empowers subject matter experts to build and maintain their own conversational solutions. I think a great example of Power Virtual Agents is you can with the Power Virtual Agents platform, you can embed that into your website, your business website, and you can seed questions or frequently asked questions from your customer service team, 10, 12, 15 questions, whatever the number is you're comfortable with, as well as answers, such that when a customer comes to your website, there's this pretty organic exchange between the customer and the chatbot. If the chatbot gets a question, excuse me, that it's not able to answer, and that is, it's not part of the questions that are already within the data set for the Power Agent, that can trigger a Power Automate notification to a live agent. And within that Power Automated trigger notification, the live agent will receive the history of that conversation between the Power Virtual Agent chatbot and the customer, such that the Power Agent now has a history of what's been asked, and then can talk directly to the customer seamlessly without losing any of that history, and that will create, and I think, a pretty good customer experience. Excuse me, a sip of water here. Now, I talked earlier about the Common Data Service, and the Common Data Service is a cloud-based solution that easily structures a variety of data and business logic to support interconnected applications and processes in a secure and compliant manner. Managed and maintained by Microsoft, the Common Data Service is available globally, but deployed geographically to comply with your potential data residency. It is not designed for standalone use on your servers. A few attributes of the Common Data Service include the ability to handle authentication through Azure Active Directory, allowing for conditional access as well as multi-factor authentication, allows for you to easily apply data logic at the data or business logic at the data level, offers you to the control to shape your data, allowing you to discover, model, validate, and report on your data, excuse me, and stores your physical data in the Azure cloud. Pardon me. So the power, and this is, pardon the pun, but the power of Power Platform is its ability to leverage data across many platforms. To do this, components of the Power Platform use data connectors. You can think of a data connector as a bridge from your data source to your app or workflow, which allows information to be conveyed back and forth. Connectors allow you, or data connectors allow you, to extend your business solutions across platforms and add functionality for your users. And the Power Platform, and I think I referenced this earlier, has over 325 data connectors. Now, with that said, you do have the ability to create your own custom connectors, and this will allow you to connect your app by calling a publicly available API or a custom API you're hosting in a cloud provider. Connectors work by sending information back and forth across these APIs and gathering available functions into Power Apps and/or Power Automate. Now, the data sources for these connectors are twofold. One, first, a tabular data, and a tabular data source is one that returns data in a structured table format. And this is fantastic for Power Apps, because Power Apps can read this directly and display these tables through galleries, forms, and other controls. And galleries, forms, and controls is part of the Power Platform Studio. And when you learn a little bit more about Power Platform, but Power App Studio, and when you go into a little more detail and learn a little bit more, you'll see what I mean by galleries and forms, and that's all related to Power Apps. Additionally, with the data source, Power Apps can create, edit, and delete data from these data sources. So examples of data sources, tabular data sources, are the Common Data Service, SharePoint, Excel, and SQL Server. Now, function-based data source is one that uses functions to interact with the data source. These functions can be used to return a table of data, but offer more extensive actions, such as the ability to send an email, update permissions, or create a calendar event. Examples of function-based data include Office 365 users, so the users within your Office 365 subscription, Project Online, and if you're leveraging Azure Blob Storage. Now there's two main components of a connector, of a data connector. There's a trigger and then there's actions. Triggers are really only used as part of Power Automate, and a trigger prompts an Power Automate flow to begin. Triggers can be time-based, such as a flow or a Power Automate flow, which begins every day at a specific time. Say, for example, you want to pull data every morning, you need to pull data from one system to another. You can build out a Power Automate that directs that data to be transferred to another system at a specific time every day. Or a trigger is based off of an action by creating a new record, such as creating a new record in a table or receiving an email. Actions are used in both Power Automate and Power Apps. Actions are prompted by a user or a trigger and allow interaction with your data source by some function. For example, an action would be sending an email to your workflow or app or writing a new line in a data source. Now, pulling all of this together, so we've talked about the varying components of Power Platform all up. So what's a great scenario as to how all this works? And I think a good scenario is something like this. You have a business. Within your business, you have an IT department, and the IT department offers equipment to your employees to kind of check out for like an event. And the process is, the current process, fictitiously, is the employee, such as myself, walks down to the IT department and says, hey, I need this piece of equipment for this event that's going to happen next week. Do you have it, and can I check it out? The IT department will say, yeah, you need to fill out this form, submit the form. The IT department has to go back into inventory to figure out if they have the piece of equipment. They need to share user instructions to me so that I properly use the equipment. 3 days, 4 days down the road, I've used this piece of equipment. My event is over, but I have neglected to share that or check that back in to the IT department. So the IT department's having to track me down and send me an email saying, hey, Joe, you need to get this back. It's a very laborious, not a very efficient way to run some sort of inventory management. What Power Platform does for you is you can, within Power Apps, you can build an app that includes all the equipment that's available, the status of that equipment, whether it's available in inventory or not, and then maybe some use instructions for the person who's checking it out. So as an example, I can open up my Power App at my desk or on my laptop and click a couple of buttons, submit that to the IT department. The IT department now knows through a Power Automated email that I need this piece of equipment. They confirm that they have it. They send an email back to me, says yes, come. They say yes, come at 5 o'clock today. You can pick it up. I walk down, pick up my equipment. I have, say, 4 days to use that piece of equipment. Then I need to return it. On the end of the 4th day, automatically through Power Automate, I get an email that says, Joe, this is a reminder, you need to return this piece of equipment. Now, this is creating a ton of data, and you can take that data and you can put it in Power BI, and then you can build some reporting, and that reporting can include what type of equipment is being used most often, what departments are using what equipment, are people being good corporate citizens and returning the equipment in a timely manner. And then taking that data, you can then build out budgetary needs for you as an inventory manager. You can have conversations with departments about some poor behavior from some of their employees. As somebody who was an inventory manager in an old role, this would have been fantastic for me from a planning perspective and from a budgetary perspective. So that's kind of a high level, easy scenario of what Power Platform can do for you. So now what I'd like to do is just kind of walk through some of the things that we would love for you all to follow through with as part of your learning of Power Platform. And specifically, what we'd love to do is give you a bunch of information to go home with as homework, with the idea that you consider sitting for and taking the Power Platform Fundamentals Certification exam. The benefit to you in taking this exam is when you pass, you have this skill set on your resume, and you have something that says, yes, Microsoft, based off of the fact that you have taken this exam and passed this exam, Microsoft is acknowledging your understanding of the fundamentals of the Power Platform. So to get to that point, the skills required are business value of Power Platform, which we've talked about, the core components of Power Platform, which we've talked about, and then the business value of each of these components, Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agent, which is unfortunately not within this slide. And so now the question is, all right, Joe, well, this is great, but how do I get additional information, or how do I learn more? And from Microsoft's perspective, there are a couple of different ways. Through Microsoft Learn, we've built a learning path that's, in this case, it's the Microsoft Power Platform Fundamentals Learning Path. This is 8 modules of learning that go into deeper detail on the components that we discussed, as well as provide opportunities for you to build your own app. There's a step-by-step building your own app. There's step-by-step Power Automate, as well as building a Power BI dashboard. And this is actually something that I've gone through myself as part of an onboarding process. I've been on the team for 2 months, so this was a great tool to help me. If you would rather do instructor-led learning, we do work with partners that offer instructor-led training, and I'll give you a link to that in just a minute, to that information. And then this is just to highlight the certification and the Power Platform Fundamentals certification. So this is in my opinion one of the important slides of the deck, and the first bullet point is the power, and I would ask that you take a screenshot of this. The first bullet point is the learning path, the link to the learning path, which I just referenced. If you want to do more instructor-led type of training, you can go to the second bullet point. The third bullet point is a landing page for the fundamentals, the Power Platform Fundamentals certification. There's a ton of information there. And then these last 2 bullet points, one is the Power App Test Environment. This is an article that I wrote that walks you through how to build out your own test environment for Power Apps, Power Platform. And it's through the Microsoft 365 developer program. Step by step, relatively easy. This is actually what I use for my test environment. And then lastly is my first Power App demo, and this is step by step process on the first Power App that I ever built, and it's a kind of a quick and easy inventory management type of tool, but I think it's pretty good. I'm a little biased. So that's really the content for this talk. I have been asked to bring up this slide, which I think most of you all have seen in other sessions, the Ignite Skills, Cloud Skills Challenge. This is an opportunity for you to take some learning, and based off of your interaction, you have an opportunity to get a voucher for a free exam. So I think with that, my content's done. I don't know if there's some questions in the queue, but Nippon, I'd kind of defer to you for that.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Joe. I think this was really great. There is a little bit of echo. I'm not sure if it is coming from Hughes or someone else, but let me take a quick question, Joe, and then mute myself. The first question that I have here for you is, what is the difference between Logic App and Power Automate? Sorry, I think it's a pretty common one. So, what's your take on that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I've actually had that question in previous sessions. So this is my understanding the difference between Logic Apps and Power Apps, and Power Automate. So Logic Apps is a great way to tie the different services within Azure together. Power Automate is a great way to leverage other services such as SharePoint, Twitter, and some third-party connectors. So there's this kind of internal component with respect to Azure and Logic Apps, and then this little more external component facing of Power Automate and some of the other tools out there. Hopefully that answers your question.
Right. Definitely. I think it does add more clarity. The second one that we can take, since we have time, is what exactly is the difference between the fundamentals and the role-based certifications? And do you have a guidance for which one to take when?
So with that question, I think from my perspective, a fundamentals is kind of an entry-level certification and will help you with kind of the overall business value of, in this case, Power Platform. Role-based, I think, is a little more in-depth, a little more technical, and I think a little more functional with respect to, in this case, Power Apps. So my personal feeling is that if you're new to this space, go through the Power Apps fundamental Microsoft learning path, take that PL900 class, take that PL900 exam, which is the Power Apps, Power Platform fundamentals, and then build off of that, and then go into more role-based certifications.
Got it. So, okay, here's what I understood of this session, Joe. First of all, it was awesome, super clear for someone like me who has got a limited coding experience. I feel a bit more empowered than when I entered the session. I will summarize from what I have learned is that the Power Platform essentially encompasses of 4 broad categories: the Power Apps, the Power Automate, the Power BI, and is that all? Or the Power Virtual Agent? Sorry, the newest edition. Right?
There you go.
So I'm learning slowly but steadily. So all of these helps people with no coding experience to build applications for the business and to build bots, to build dashboards, etc. And I think this is a really great start for my own journey. I do believe that others like me on the call would benefit from it as well. And I really hope that you have a great Ignite experience too. I really hope that everyone who joined us today had a great experience as well. And best of luck for your learning journey. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks very much. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks everybody for for tuning in, and hope the remainder of your Ignite experience is a fruitful one. Thanks again, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.